Hello, Dr. Gilmet here, and I just wanted to talk to you about the mean today. So the best measures in statistics try to take into account all of the values of the data. And so the mean and the standard deviation use the values of all the data to obtain a measure of center for the mean and variation for the standard deviation. So the mean is technically the arithmetic average of all of the values and gives you a value where the data balances, which I'm going to explain in a minute. So this is the formula, and basically it says the sum of all the values divided by the number of values. So X bar stands for mean, the sigma means to sum up all of the values, and then the n is the number of values. And basically this gives a balancing point for the data. Think of all the data sitting along a plank. This means that the support point, the mean is the support point that allows the plank to balance. And in fact, we can prove that they balance. So I'm going to use the top 50 paying jobs from Clark Howard's website. And certainly we can do that by hand, but it would take time. So I'm going to calculate it using Excel. Okay? And so since the mean is the arithmetic average, the function is average. So that's what I'm going to use right here. So we switch over, and so the mean then, that looks a little funny. The mean then is equal to, and I start typing average, and you'll notice that it pops up, and it has this label, smart tag, that tells you what it's doing. It's returning the arithmetic mean. And so I use the keyboard shortcut and hit tab to get it to auto fill in. Now you can see these smart tags are letting you know it wants a series of numbers. So I'm going to grab the numbers for the median base salary 5 years after graduation, and those are going to go in there, and all I have to do now is hit enter. So I hit enter, and that does it. Anytime you need to calculate something, you have to have the equal sign there, and then you can use any of the functions. All right, and so you can see that the average now is the $49,354. But why is that the balancing point? Well, what would happen if we subtracted the mean from all the data? And basically what we got was the difference of all of the data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type equal again, because remember I'm trying to calculate something. And to do all of these cells, to do this for all of these cells, what I really need to do is I need to click on this first cell, and then I'm going to do subtract, and then I'm going to do this cell over here. So basically what I'm telling Excel is to take this number and subtract this number from it. Now actually I always want to subtract this number. So I'm going to do a little keyboard shortcut, and I'm going to hit F4. And if I hit F4 and those little dollar signs come in, that means I'm always going to use this value over here, the $49,354. And I hit enter, and you can see it's $20,646. Now, in Excel, this little box here in the corner, if you grab that, if you make a little cross here and grab that and start dragging down, what it does is it copies and pastes the formula into all the rest of the cells. And so what you can see here is this one is also this 68,000 minus the 49,000. And this one is this 68,000 minus this 49,000. And so what's happening is the difference is going down, 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 down until we hit this point right here. This point halfway in between the $49,354. So the high values would be positive and the low values would be negative. So what happens when we add them, right? I've got all of these high values up here. These are on one side of the seesaw, of the teeter-totter, right? These are all the positive values. These red ones, these are all the negative values on the low side of the teeter-totter. So what happens if I add them all up? So the way we sum in Excel is we say equal, and then it's a sum, right? S-U-M, sums things, adds all the numbers in the range of cells. So I'm going to hit tab again, And now again, it wants numbers, so I'm going to grab all of the numbers in the difference column from C2 to C51, and then I hit enter, and I get, wait, I get 0. Like, how did that, oh, there's just as much positive difference as there is negative difference. And so that is the balancing point. We see that the sum is 0, and there's just as much value above the mean as below the mean. And so this is where the data balances. And this is why we use the arithmetic average. Stay tuned for more videos using Excel and statistics.